Today I'll teach you how to populate repeater control using entity framework in ASP.NET. So before starting the tutorial, I will explain you some important details about entity framework. Entity framework is a database connection framework which is used to connect the front end, which is your program. It can be ASP.NET, it can be a Windows application, to the database, which is SQL Server or whichever database you are using. So let's move to the Solution Explorer. Now I'll right click the project and click on Add New Item. Now here I'll select edu.NET Entity Data Model and I'll give a suitable name to it. Now I'll click on Add. I'll click Yes on this dialog box. Next you need to select the EF Designer option and click on Next. This is the data connection window. Here I'll click on New Connection. In the server name text box, you need to specify the name of your SQL Server instance. Now as you can see, I am putting the username and password of SQL Server in the authentication section. As you can see, I am connected to the Northwind database. On the right hand side, you will see a link to the video which explains how to download and install Northwind database. Now I am testing the connection. As you can see, it is successful. Now I'll click on OK. Now as you select the database, the name of the connection string in the web.config is also changing. Now you need to click on the Yes option, which means that the username and password will be saved in the web.config file and it won't be encrypted. After doing that, you need to click on the Next button. Now here you need to select the version of entity framework you want to use. I am selecting 5.0. Then click Next. Here all the tables, views and stored procedures of the Northwind database are visible. You need to select the items which you want to use. I am selecting Customers table. As you can see, the customer entity data model has been created. So with this we complete the configuration of entity framework and now it is ready to use in our application. So let's start. I'll start by adding a repeater control. Now I will explain you some basic information that this particular repeater control will display data in HTML table format and hence I am making use of a HTML table element inside the header template. As you can see, I am making use of header template to define the columns for the HTML table. I would like to explain you that a repeater control consists of three elements: header template, and there is a item template, and there is a footer template. Header template, as the name suggests, remains on top. In between comes the item template, which is actually the data which comes from database. And at the end comes the footer template, which as the name suggests remains at the bottom. So that's the reason I am putting the table and tag in the footer template. Now little information about the item template. Item template will repeat the data for the repeater. For example, you are getting 10 records from the database table, then it will show the particular element 10 times. For example, here I am adding a table row tr element and in between I am adding the label elements for the data. So this particular block of HTML code will be repeated 10 times if I am getting 10 records from the database table. Now continuing further, as you can see, I am making use of ASP.NET label controls to bind data from the database. So here I am using eval function and I am assigning data from the field to the text property of the label. In similar way, for the other two labels, I am doing the same thing. I am assigning the field value using the eval function to the text property of the label. Let's move to the code behind. Now inside the page load event handler, I am writing the if notice post back condition. So as you can see, I am creating an object of Northwind entities class. I'll be making use of link query to select records from the customers table of the Northwind database. So as you can see, I am fetching the data from the customers collection of the entity framework. Then I am making use of take function to select top 10 records, and it is assigned to the data source property of the repeater control. And finally, the data bind function is called. So with this we complete our programming part, and now it's time to run our project and see it in action. As you can see, the repeater is populated with data. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe, and don't forget to click the bell icon. Goodbye.